Hi everybody and welcome to Adobe Live. My name is Flynn. We'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we are creating and streaming from today and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. I'm very excited to welcome Jeremy Mura to his first ever live stream with Adobe Live. Jeremy, how you doing?
Hey dude, how you doing? I'm super excited to be here and thanks for having me on. I'm super excited.
It's great to have you on. I'm really pleased about this. Been following your work for a really long time. You're from Sydney as well, which is crazy that we haven't had you on before from everything that you do. So yeah, it's happening. We're here, we're live, we're hanging out with you guys. So if you're watching over on YouTube or anywhere else, jump on over to behance.net/live if you want to say hello. That's the chat that we're using today. So Johanna and Steve and some other folks in the chat. So yeah, jump on in there. You can ask questions as we're going along, like why hasn't Flynn turned the music on? There we go, we're ready to roll. But yeah, I've been following your work for quite a long time. I think we shared some messages like back in the day. Been following you ever since then, and just watched you like really explode in terms of like your following and the amount of content you're putting out. And you're all about like helping designers and helping people understand design and building their brands and their personal brands for clients and stuff like that. So I'll give you a chance to say hello and maybe introduce yourself for people that haven't been following you as long as I have.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks for getting in contact, man. I think it's been I don't know, 2 or 3 years. But yeah, it's been a great journey. But yeah, for those who don't know, my name's Jeremy. I'm currently living in Sydney and I'm married. I'm 27. And yeah, I've been in the design industry for over 8 years and I love helping designers. I love helping businesses and brands create visual impact in the world. And yeah, I've just been enjoying the last few years, been really focusing on creating content and I've been creating courses and templates and products, just everything to make designers' lives efficient, especially for those who want to transition maybe from a different career or people who are beginners. Typically that's who I help. But yeah, I've got a website that you can check out and did you want me to show you some of the stuff?
Yeah, we can bring that up when you're ready. Let's check it out. Yeah, we're sharing that now.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so jeremymura.com, you can check out some of the stuff I do. You can even download a free brand identity beginner's guide, so that's cool. Some of my work as well, I'll show you. You can see some of my case studies that I've recently done. I've got opportunity to work with like Macquarie Business School, so quickly just scroll through that. Got to do a project for a mentoring program that we're launching. So this is in a university in Sydney, so that's like some of my work here. I got some more work on Behance as well. Also got to do like stuff for like a whiskey subscription, which was really cool.
Nice. Are you a whiskey drinker?
No, I'm not really a big drinker, man.
Yeah.
Like special occasions or when I'm hanging out with mates. But I don't know, it was just a random client. I'm like, oh, I'll just give it a go,
Yeah.
My dad likes drinking wine and whiskey and stuff, good stuff. But I'm more of like I like mixing, like I like cocktails and mixing stuff. It's more fun,
Yeah.
And then you can check out some of my courses on Skillshare as well. So I've got plenty of courses. So if you want to learn how to do portfolios or brand identity or logos or a bunch of courses on there, you guys can check out. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. And yeah.
That's awesome. And so like we're going to be chatting about Illustrator today. I've noticed like a lot of your courses are around Illustrator, which makes heaps of sense, like branding and identity and that kind of thing. What drove you to Illustrator?
So for me, I just love how it's just really functional and fast, specifically with like creating typography and like customizing, cutting up that stuff, and just working with colors is really easy, like swatches. And I've always been into like vector illustration, like flat design and negative space. And so I think I was always like sort of drawn to that style, and that's why I stuck with Illustrator. And one of my early like teachers, I used to watch Von Glitchka a lot. He's from America. And when I used to go on LinkedIn, what is it called? The LinkedIn has a lynda.com.
Oh, lynda.com. Yeah.
Back in the day. So basically I watched all these courses and he did everything in Illustrator, and I just basically learned a lot of his techniques. And I just fell in love with it. And I just like, not many people do Illustrator well. And I'm like, I decided to just stick with it and just dominate it. And yeah, I think for me, efficiency and speed and just being able to just customize things really fast is just like what's important to me. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And obviously working like vector based for logo and branding design, like you're kind of set for life kind of thing. Yeah, I'm a massive Illustrator fan as well. We did an Illustrator stream a couple of weeks ago. I had to dust off the tools a little bit, to be honest, but it's definitely my jam. I quite like XD as well because it kind of picks up a lot of what, you know, Illustrator has. A slightly lighter version for different stuff, but yeah, so I'm very excited to be jumping into Illustrator with you today and chatting about brand and identity and all that sort of thing. But without further ado, what do you have in store for us today?
So today we're going to be designing a brand for a barber shop. Basically, it's like going to be a barbershop directory where people can search for barbers around the area. It was for a client that came to me about like 4 months ago. And it was meant to be like a project for my Mura Academy, but we really didn't put effort into it, so I decided to do it. And yeah, we're gonna get stuck into that, create a logo, create some assets, probably do maybe, I don't know, like a hero page, landing page or something, and just play around and yeah, dig in.
Awesome. All right, well, let's get started. Yeah, Leon in chat saying Jeremy is a boss. Yep, totally agree. If you want to leave us a message or ask a question as we're going through everything today, just a reminder that it's at behance.net/live is the chat that we are monitoring today. Come and say hi.
Cool, awesome. Well, let's get stuck into it. So I have a quick brief here, and then we're going to jump into the design. We're going to start off with the logo. Typically, I usually create a brief whenever it's a client, just so I can get clear on the audience, the goal, etc. So obviously, I'm not going to read all this, but basically, it's for a barbershop. He came to me wanting a name called Halaki, but in Arabic, it means like barber. But I decided to make it a more simple name and call it, I had heaps of names here, but I decided to call it the Barbers of Giza.
That's great.
Yeah, so the guy is from Egypt, right? And he's from Egypt, and that's where his hometown is. And obviously, it's more of a global barber shop probably, but we're just gonna focus on his, location. Got some notes here. So we want minimal design, keep it really flat, negative space. He likes the idea of like Pharaoh and Egypt and that, age-old stuff. And then, got some more details there, but here's sort of an inspiration board, and typically what I do with inspiration, I typically go on Pinterest, make a board, or I make a mood board or a stylescape typically. But for this one, we just got some images, so pulling some logos here and some like app designs for an app later down the road. So yeah, this is what we're gonna work on, and let's get into it.
That's cool. So even thinking about like the different deliverables that might come up down the track, right? Like this client's come to you and so they're kind of thinking, I kind of want a logo, I want to maybe put it on a shirt, I want the maybe decals for the place, but you're thinking like even this early on, you're thinking way down the track of what the website might look like, what is it, what could the app look like if they do an app, and trying to think about those outputs this early on.
Yeah, definitely. Like you need to get awareness of the deliverables down the road. What are things that are going to add value to the brand? Instead of just a logo, what can you add? Can you do brochures, a flyer, a website, an app, and start to visualize that? Because when you start to show these things to the client, it starts showing them potentials, right? It shows the potential of how their business can flourish and expand instead of just being small-minded. You got to show them what's possible, and it gets them excited. Yeah, and that's why I typically do that.
That's cool. I love it.
Awesome. So typically when I love going to Dribble, Pinterest, Behance, all the good places. And typically I'll, get some more inspiration. Obviously, sometimes I do a bit of sketches. So I did a couple of sketches here. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Oh, yeah, if you hold that still, I think we can bring that up. Yeah.
So for example, typically I'll just do a couple of sketches there. It looks heaps bright, but obviously I usually try and do, when I have more time, I do like a couple pages or 5 pages of different sketches and trying to nail that logo, but we're going to try and do it from scratch here. So typically I'll type in logo design and start to look at different designs, or I use keywords. So I'll use like Pharaoh, hopefully I spell that right, or I'll type in like Egypt, and I'm starting to get some inspiration here. So, and the cool thing is that there's so many great designers out there. Like, why not use ideas that already work? So for example, like this one, this looks pretty interesting. Maybe I want to use that. See, I like this shape up here. See, I put like a snake. Like that's an interesting idea. So what I'll do, I'll like copy and drop just the image in Illustrator, copy paste, right? Really easy to do that. And then I can look at like suggested images, see if there's anything else. I'll type Egypt. Like even some of these things are cool. Like maybe I can create an icon from the logo. Instead of just doing one logo, can I figure out like some variations? Maybe I want to make like an eye or something, you know? So, you know, just pulling some of those inspirations there. And obviously some of the images from the brief I had before. But typically once I've done that, I'll go to Pinterest, you know, type in Pharaoh here, see what pops up. And I'm most likely going to do like a logo with the Pharaoh, sort of like a flat design. So typically I want to find like a nice image. So this is a nice flat image. I'll just, you know, copy and paste it. Obviously sometimes you might get watermarks. So try and find an image maybe without watermarks. And obviously we're not copying, we're just using it for inspiration.
Yeah. And you kind of have an idea in your head already of which direction you're going. But what happens? Do you ever stumble across like a logo or something and you go, "Wow, hang on, I really like the way this direction's going," and kind of change your idea as you're going through? Or does that not happen so much and you try not to do that? Or what's your approach?
Yeah, definitely. Like sometimes I might come across something, or like if I take a day break and then I saw something on Instagram or something, I'll go and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna add this," or play around with this concept. So I try not to get stuck down one pathway. I try and just duplicate and copy ideas and stuff like that, and play around.
That's great.
Another good site is Logo Pond or Logo Lounge. Is good. So if nothing pops up, type in Egypt.
So you're gonna type egg in then for a second, and I was like, this is going in a different
Sometimes
direction than I thought.
Weird stuff. You never know what's gonna pop up. And like the cool thing is, like I'm even looking at colors, but like now I'm looking at colors, seeing if there's a palette I can take from one of these images, because you know people don't own colors unless it's like Cadbury or Coca-Cola.
Right.
So we can you know, get some colors as well. Okay, there's nothing there that's interesting me. All right, cool. So we'll just stick with this, and let's start to play around. So typically I love playing around with typography first. So I usually press T for the type tool, and I start to make something that's called a type wall, where I just like dump a whole bunch of different fonts. I'll type out the name, so we'll go Fibers of Giza. And what I like to do is I like to see it in different cases. So how does it feel in uppercase? How does it feel in lowercase? That's always a good way. How does it feel if I stack it? And so I'll just duplicate it, hold Alt Shift, duplicate really quickly, stack it, see what that looks like. And typically when you have a long name for a logo, it's not good if it's too long because the eyes have to read it. So sometimes if it's longer, you want to stack it like this, or you want to do like a badge where the words are all separate in pieces.
Right.
So we'll just leave that there on the side, and I'm gonna start to play around with some fonts.
Super cool. While we're jumping into fonts as well, just say hi to a bunch of people in chat. Hey, Sondos, nice to have you here. Elizabeth Mock is here, lovely to see you.
Awesome.
Gareth is tuning in from Scotland. I think Elizabeth is in Michigan. Lovely to have you here. 10 p.m. there on Monday. Well, hope you're having a great start to the week. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out with us. And if anyone wants to say hi, or you have questions as we're going along, don't hesitate to jump out. Safe space. You can ask any questions you like.
Any questions, guys? I'm open. So
keep them G, but yeah, any questions, you know, within reason. We'll.
That's awesome. So
do you have?
I have a whole...
Oh, I was gonna. Yeah, sorry, you go.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I have a whole bunch of different fonts. So, for me, I buy a lot of fonts from Design Cuts.
That was my question. Yeah.
Yeah. So Design Cuts, Pixel Surplus. So Design Cuts do bundles. They usually do bundles. So if you click bundle, they do font bundles. So I've bought a lot from them. Also, you've got Pixel Surplus. You've got sites like Envato as well. Pixel Surplus has some font bundles here, which is really cool. Jeremy Vesey has some cool fonts. Heritage Type Co. Envato also has got fonts as well. So I use Envato Elements. So if I want to type like vintage or... like you get all these fonts, commercial use, and they've got like thousands, like it's crazy.
Yeah, I was going to say, so do you have like an account with some of these places, like subscription based or something like that? Do you find those sorts of things useful?
Yeah, so Envato Elements is subscription based. I have a subscription with them, and it includes like 3D images and like everything. So if you want to type 3D images, you can see you got all this, like amazing stuff. Photos, you know, if I type in barber, you can see I'll get some photos from here later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just really worth it. Like you pay like, I don't know, $15 a month, and then you get a whole bunch of different things. So that's where I usually get my fonts. And actually sometimes I use Adobe Type Kit as well. So it's included with your Creative Cloud. So why not use that, you know?
Yeah, there's a ton in there as well. Yeah, there's no shortage of fonts these days. That's for sure.
There's too many. There's too many. So just basically going through, just copying, pasting, trying to find some fonts that I feel like fits the vibe. You know, we want it to be minimal, modern, with a bit of character. We don't want to go too crazy with it. Like for example, some of these fonts are like textured.
Right.
So we've got to ask ourselves, like, does it feel more too retro, or are we the brand brief that we're sort of going for? I'm just gonna go through some more fonts. And obviously, like, you've got serif fonts, and serif fonts like feel very premium and classic compared to like a sans serif.
Yeah.
So they're more feminine, whereas sans serif is like more neutral and sometimes masculine and in nature, which is pretty cool. Another cool feature as well is like you've got filters in Adobe Illustrator, so I can click on sans serif and suss out like what, like I could just look at only sans serif fonts. So I think that's pretty cool as well.
Yeah, you need the filters these days, otherwise you'll be scrolling
for
the whole stream. We'll just go through every font there is.
I know.
There is so many. Yeah.
There's too many. 100%. Space Grotesque. That's pretty cool as well.
Do you have go-to fonts? Do you find yourself kind of every now and then being like, if I just use that font that I really like, everything, I know it's going to work because it's just a beautiful font? Or do you try to force yourself not to go back, you know, you use the same sort of fonts all the time? Where's your head at with that?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. I feel like I do lean towards some fonts like, for example, I've got like TT Norms here, Montreaux Grotesque is a good one. And most of them are sans serif fonts, or like this one, where is it? Made Kenfolk. Where is it? No, it's not on sans serif. Yeah, like I do have like top 10 that I do like a lot of the times I typically use. But I always try and play around and use something different, because then I was like, you get bored of using the same font over and over again. Yeah.
I've got a slightly off-topic question, but I think you're a great person to ask to answer this question. Got a message in chat from Attic. I have one problem. I can design good quality, but I don't have any clients. How can I get a client?
Well, good question. So
big difficult question.
big one for the first. Yeah, so there's heaps of things you can do for clients, and the thing is, like, it does take proactiveness. Like, you have to be proactive, you have to get out there. Even though you're introvert, some people are introverted, you have to actually put in effort and stuff. But, you know, one of the easiest things is reach out to your family and friends that are in direct contact with you that have businesses, and ask if they have referrals or they know someone that has a business, and say, hey, my name's so-and-so, I launched my design business, I'm running a design business, happy to get in contact and help. I offer these services, brand identity, logos, whatever. And just be very helpful. Don't be salesy. Just say, I'm here to help, here to offer value. If you know anyone that needs design. You can also use freelance sites as well. You know, obviously you've got 99 Designs, Fiverr, Upwork, a lot of those sites. The issue is with those sites is that sometimes they're contests, so you're competing. Also, it's very saturated. And secondly, you need a lot of reviews to actually get the better, higher paying clients, in my opinion. I've used a few freelance sites in the past, but now I typically resort to doing content marketing, putting content out there that helps small business, and then it just attracts the clients to me and generating leads. One more tip as well is that you can partner with other agencies. So find local agencies in your area. What you want to do is you want to say, email them or call them like, hey, I'm a designer, I'm a freelancer. I was wondering if you have any overflow work, right? So typically they get small projects they can't take on or they're too busy and they have to send the work or the client to another freelancer they have on their list. So if you can partner with like maybe strategic or marketing agencies or even design agencies and see if they've got work or any smaller projects, if you can be on their list, then that's another method of getting clients. But yeah, you got to really be proactive every day, reaching out, going on Facebook groups, talking to people. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful.
Wow, that's great. Like some really good advice there. You had that ready to go in the chamber. I love it. I love it.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah, locked and loaded. Wow. Thanks for the great question, Attic. We hope that helped. Let us know if there's any more questions as we're going through. I think that's a really great idea to tap into like family and friends and people you know, and like widening your network out that way. And like your comment about not being too salesy with it, we're not trying to sell them on a pyramid scheme here. It's like, this is my service, this is what I do. We've all had that. And also pyramid, Barbers of Giza, sweet pun. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions, that's great, because it seems like Jeremy's ready to roll with the answers. So
yeah, always ready,
great.
guys. Awesome. So what I typically do is after I've selected some fonts, I'll narrow them down. So basically elimination, and I'll just start to like what has character to it, what feels good, and then I'll go from there. So yeah, I'm liking these fonts right here.
Cool.
So we've got Made Evolve Sans, TT Norms, Space Grotesque, Bien Minet, and Metrodat Display. It's also got a script one, which is pretty cool. So typically trying to find fonts that have big families. For example, this one, it's only got like regular. So I have to find a complementary font because it doesn't have like a light version or whatever. So yeah. And
this comes more when you're expanding out from just creating the logo to like, you need to do like a menu or signage or any other bit where you need, you'll need two fonts in this case rather than using the same family for pretty much everything.
Yeah, exactly. And it creates that that dynamic graphic element as well, and just contrast. You want to always have contrast, you know. So yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling so these fonts here look like I could go for the really minimal and just keep it simple, but then these ones have more character. Like I really like these fonts here, like even how it's like got the sharp edges and stuff. So to me, that sort of represents the pyramids, how they got sharp edges. So it's like trying to connect the dots, right? So for me, I'm leaning more towards this one. It's got that triangular like cut. I don't know. What do you think, Flynn?
Well, I always love it when there's like a good reason to do something. And so like, yeah, it's great. Like thinking about the cuts on the edges relating to pyramid, like does make a lot of sense for the client. That's the sort of thing that you tell the client, and you could tell that they'd be like, yeah, I'm super into that. Like you've obviously put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah. Definitely. And it just makes it more like objective. Always try and be objective with your designs. So
that's cool. Yeah, we got another question here, if you don't mind. What are the best fonts? I'll answer from my perspective. I think that's very subjective and it will depend on the client and everything. But yeah, we were chatting about go-to fonts, so maybe we could I'll let you answer the question, but also add it with if there isn't a best font, what are maybe some of your go-to fonts?
Yeah, so for me, I love Uniform. Uniform's a good one. I use that for my Instagram carousels, actually. Uniform, obviously, you know, there's all the famous ones like Futura, Helvetica. I don't really use Helvetica. A lot of people love that. What else? Inter is another good one. I love Inter, and that's free.
Cool. Leon in chat is a Helvetica new fan, using a lot in their work. Yeah, it is definitely a font. As soon as you start using it, you'll notice that it's prolific because it's a great font. Like it's built really well. It has a huge family as well.
100%. It's really good. Space Grotesque is good. What else? There's a few script ones. Nick Ainley is good. This one's like a nice script font. But yeah, like typically I try and avoid the mainstream ones. Gil Sans, I think it is good as well.
Gil Sans is great. Yes. Nice one.
But yeah, like each project is different. Like you just got to, yeah, you just got to pick it for based on the client. And there's some like Google fonts and Adobe fonts. Like there's so many fonts out there. All right, so typically I've got the fonts now, and I think I'm gonna play with the type later, and I think I want to work on that icon now. So I've selected my fonts. So we're using Metro Display and TT Norms Medium, and I can probably make it light. So I'm gonna come back here, and I can delete all that, but I'll just leave it there in case I want to go back to it. And we'll start to work on this. And usually, like, I'll bring my sketches in, take a picture and bring it in. And sometimes if I'm more confident on the design, I'll just start to work on it. So what I want to do, I'm going to start to use the Pharaoh face as my tool to trace. So always using reference images is really going to help you to create a logo. It also makes it better when because if you like do a logo and you start tracing the logo, you're gonna be more close to it and copy it too much.
Yeah.
So that's how you want to try and do this. So typically what I'll do is I'll press the pen tool, make a guide, press Control 5. So I've got like a guideline here. And I'm gonna zoom in here, sort of straighten that out like this.
So Control 5 just turns that line that you had selected into a guide.
Yep. And you can do it with shapes. So if you make a shape, press Control 5, that's a guideline now.
Yep, cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. It's awesome. Okay, so now what I want to do is there's a cool tool that that Adobe released. They've released the Mura tool. So I think I have to create let me just get. So if it's in repeat, and you can see mirror. So what it's going to do is mirror this shape like that. So first I'm going to make the shape, and then we can so you can see how I'm in mirror mode now. You see like the line and etc. So you can see mirror repeat.
Yep.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slowly, I can use shapes or I can use the pen tool, whatever is like, whatever floats your boat. Shapes are really good to make it more, heaps mathematical, but for this, I'm just going to like this. Cool trick is that you hold shift to make the curves more nicer. And sometimes it's good to have more points because it gives you the shape, make it more organic. You can see we're already starting to create this shape here.
Yeah, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I didn't know that you could do that in Illustrator either. We've
oh wow.
Yeah, we've used the symmetry tool a lot in Photoshop for illustration a lot here on Adobe Live. But yeah, wow. I'm gonna be playing around with that. So that's two things you've already shown me that awesome. I'm not aware of, and I'm like, yeah, Illustrator's my jam. I'm gonna have to rethink my position.
Become a Illustrator fanboy.
Yeah, that's it. Awesome.
Oh, that's so good. So yeah, hopefully I'll try and do this as quick as possible, but and later on, like, we can cut the shapes and fix it off, but for now we just want to get the core shapes out. Face.
Very cool. While you're drawing that, I'll just check in with chat. Hope everyone's doing really well. We're just about halfway through the stream. We're finishing up at 1 p.m. today. So if you do have questions, throw them in. We'll see if we can get to them. And if we don't, we're back on Thursday as well. So this is part 1 of this stream, and then we've got a part 2 on Thursday as well. Same time, so whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world and you're tuning in, we'll be here again in 2 days. So if we miss it, we will try to get to it. I'm glad there's some people agreeing with, not agreeing with me, but in the same boat as me, did not know that the symmetry tool, reflect tool is available in Illustrator, so that is awesome. And I missed someone else as well, mentioning just on fonts again, I've been using Gotham and Montserrat as well a lot lately. Yeah, Gotham is go-to, hey. I definitely have some projects sitting in a Dropbox file that no one's looking at. with Gotham in it. Not to say it's bad font. I just don't have any of my work online. Very cool.
It's amazing.
Font's very subjective, isn't it? It's a little bit like music. A lot of people kind of have their favorite bands, or they were into it before it was popular, kind of thing.
100%. Like you'll probably have people that are more into like classic fonts, and then well-designed fonts, and then other people that just like more playful stuff. So yeah, a lot of things about design are pretty subjective. So.
It's very true for the designer, and also the client, and then also the audience, right? So it's a lot to consider when you are creating.
100%. One thing to keep in note as well, as I'm doing this, when you're doing sort of negative space and have faces, you can see how there's shadows. So you always want to like create shadows in the light, and that's, if you want to do shading later, it also makes it just more realistic. So I'm trying to follow like where the shadows are. So for example, this nose bit, I could do it there or under the eyes. But obviously I don't want to add too much detail and too many shapes because I want to keep it simple. But yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind when you're doing like negative space stuff.
That's a great point.
And I think this icon's going to be heaps big. I'm probably going to have to just cut the head, but we'll see what happens.
Very cool. I think there might have been a question that I've missed. If we can ask that as we're going along. How long should it take to build a logo, and then how much would you charge?
Always trying to get the money question in. It depends. Like sometimes it might take 1 week, 1 day, 2 months, right? It just depends how much research is involved, how big the company is. Usually for a small solopreneur or small business, it can take maybe like 3 days. Like sometimes you just get an idea, like in your subconscious or you're in the shower and you get like a really cool idea. It's like, oh, and then it works. So take as much time as you need to get it right, And I feel like the more time you put into it, the more extra ideas pop up in your mind, to be honest. But yeah, that's my opinion. But I'm very experienced with logos, and sometimes it just takes me like 1 day to do it. Solid one, because I'm used to creating that type of stuff. But yeah. So actually, I'm not even going to do that. Cool trick as well. I don't know. A lot of people, you can use the blend tool. This, and I can just go like this. And then basically press W and W on the shape. I don't know if it's going to work because I'm in this mirror mode thing, but... it's not working.
Might not like it.
Yeah. So once you get out of mirror mode, you can see it like creates the whole shape. And I probably got to expand it and stuff. Just go back. Options.
Mirror, mirror.
Mirror on the wall. Let me see. I think I'm gonna double. Yeah, you double click. If you click out of it, guys, you can double click back into it, and it's gonna go back into that mode.
Nice.
Anyway, I'll just do it like this way. So you basically shape, and then press Control D. Just hold it down. I've got that shape. I've got those shapes now, and then okay, this. And it looks like a big mess, but we'll fix that in a minute.
It was interesting. Yeah, I was wondering how you were going to do that. Probably helps to talk about it. Like the reference image you're using, you're not trying to copy it verbatim. You're trying to use it as a guide. So because you're creating that logo, you much prefer it to be like the perfect same distance with all of this from this kind of grid that you've created down there, rather than copying the exact kind of shadow, because it's going to end up looking a lot neater as a logo.
That's right, exactly. And with a logo, you want to keep it as simple as possible. So you just want to get the foundations right, the basic image, like basics, elements and the shapes, and then you just go from there. So
Oh, shout out to Johanna in chat. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? That's good.
Awesome.
That's good.
All right, so I'm just ungrouping some of these stuff. It makes a clip group, so I'm just gonna basically clipping mask release. Okay, so I got rid of that. Okay, now I'm gonna select the back shape. I'm gonna press Shift M for the shape builder tool and minus those shapes off. So now I've got those. It cuts it off basically. And another cool tool, obviously the mirror tool is like that, but you can use the reflect tool as well and do this. That's another way of doing things. And then you'd have to join all the paths in the middle. Should have probably done that in the... Just go back into here. Yeah, you can use the shape builder tool in here as well, like that.
Can you show the shape builder tool just one time? We touched on it a little bit in a previous stream, but it's super effective in logo building, and you just did it like you're playing a keyboard.
Yeah.
So super quick. I think it's a great thing for people to know.
Sure. So basically, when you create overlapping shapes, you press Shift M. It's also a little icon located on the left here. And basically, if you hold Alt, if you're on a Mac, it'll be Option. You'll see like the minus on the mouse. So I can minus that shape, as you can see there. Right? If I press plus, it will plus the shapes. Sorry, I'll zoom in. So you can see it shows you the area, and then I can left click, drag, and now it's all one shape here. See?
Nice.
And basically, that's how you use it. So if you want to, if you have like a grid or whatever, and you have a circle, I can select everything, hold Shift, and then I'm gonna hold Alt on a PC, click and drag around it. Now I've like got all these shapes like that. See?
Boom. Awesome.
I love it. I always use it basically for logos and creating funky shapes and stuff like that. So.
Very cool. Thanks.
No worries. Where did my thing go? Okay, so I've got this. Okay, so go ping and click release. So if you click release, it will turn off the mirror. And you've also got so I can expand it as well. So if I press Control E, that's my shortcut, or go to Object. You can click Expand and expand the object, and then basically it should it will group it, and then you can ungroup it, and then it'll make a clipping mask, and then basically I can double click inside the mask and start to play around, or I can like get rid of the clipping mask. So for me, I don't like working with clipping masks right now, so I'm gonna go to Object, Clipping Mask Release, and I have to do the same for the other side as well. Clipping mask release. Okay, and now I basically got to clean up a lot of these shapes here. So what I'll do is I'm gonna select the back shapes, and then I'm gonna turn those off. I'll actually make it delete that. So with the mirror mode, you can see how it's not joined. What we want to do is you want to press A for the direct tool, select that, and press Control J, and you can see how it joined. I'll just show you like that. See?
Nice.
So that's one thing to remember when you're using this technique. You got to join all the middle paths, or use the shape builder tool and like plus them together. And sometimes you have to put it a bit over the line, and then plus it to make that.
Ah, interesting. That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, because sometimes it won't
Good
work
trick.
if it's like directly on the path. If it's like this, it won't recognize the shape overlap.
Right.
So to use the shape builder tool, you got to just bring it over, and then I can plus the two shapes like that.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's another trick as well. I'm just gonna select all the face features, and then the ears, and so I can separate all the shapes, and I'll probably group it together. So So yeah, building logos can take time, and so I'll give that. And I'll just use. Sometimes what I like to do is so a cool trick. You go to your color, and click on the little drop hamburger menu, and go down to HSB, and then I can bring the blackness down, which is the gray. Now, yeah, I'm sort of trying to just layer things so I know like what I'm looking at. Alrighty, so our shapes. So yeah, it's a very tedious process.
Just watching how fast you're going through all this sort of stuff, I think it'd take me a lot longer than you.
Yeah, I'm pretty. They call me Speedy Gonzalez sometimes.
I can see why. Festus in chat saying stream is one to rewatch, pause, and take notes. Yeah, for sure. Lots of little tips and tricks already, just in this one stream. Very cool. We've got about 15 minutes left, ladies and gentlemen, as well. Just letting you know. Also, Jeremy know as well. Man, 15 minutes. Fast. It goes fast, huh?
Too fast, man. It's all good.
But no pressure. Don't rush. Yeah. It's all good. We've got lots of questions for you and stuff like that as well. And there's a couple of people with questions in chat. We'll see if we can get to it. If we don't, we'll get to them on Thursday.
No worries. Exciting. So you can see some of the shapes, basically they're not joined properly, that's why it's coming up. So when I press, once again, I'm selecting the anchor points of this section and pressing Ctrl J, and then also connecting it. You can see it's already starting to take shape. You can press Ctrl Y to go into outline mode, so then I can bring these shapes up from the eyes.
Is that just to make it easier to select the actual...
the line, yeah.
The line, like something that's behind everything else, that kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly right. Because basically sometimes things are in front or behind and it gets like annoying. Cool. And we'll color everything properly later. All right, sweet. It's getting there slowly. I think some of these shapes got stuffed up, but I think it's all right. What do we have here?
I'll mention as well, there's been a couple of people asking about, like Kurt, for example, there's been a couple of comments similar to this. Awesome class. Does Jeremy have any classes we can sign up for? Yeah, absolutely, heaps. So Johanna has shared, like, even Jeremy's YouTube channel, I think there's like 300 videos or something. Yeah. Wild, just on your YouTube alone.
Yeah, a lot. I know, I've been doing it since the start of 2016. So January 2016, yeah, wow. Long time.
Yeah, so definitely go check that out. And then there's also like specific courses on Skillshare and all sorts of stuff. So check out his website if you want more. As you can tell, there's a lot that this man has in his head. And if Illustrator and logo design and branding.
And it's little elves in there.
Working away. So yeah, if you want more, there's more over there. Go check it out.
So I'm going to duplicate it, and obviously I should have done that before. You want to keep always duplicating because things can go wrong, and like I might run into issues now because of you know, shapes or something. But yeah, that's another tip as well, as I tell people, always just keep duplicating as you're making changes. So if you can always make a mistake, you go back
right
and fix it. So one thing to note as well, so you can see here how there's like Let me just get red. You see how these negative spaces? When you scale the logo down, those things are not going to work. Basically, you won't be able to see them. And secondly, it makes it feel unbalanced. So you always want to try and little tiny spaces like this. You want to try and get rid of that. Like even here, like I got to fix that up, etc.
Right. So what would you do in that situation? Would you move the lines around, move the head up in front, or it just depends on the situation?
Yeah, so I can either move the head up like that, cover that section, or I can just create a little black circle like that, cover that up, and then I'll, shape builder it in. Plus it like that. That's another thing. That's another way of doing it as well.
Nice.
I just noticed that all these have strokes on it, so I'm just going to. One cool thing as well, you can actually press Y for the magic wand, and I can select the black here, and then what I can do is I can just go to the stroke and just turn it off. So it's always good to select colors, and that's why I color graded these shapes here. So if I press Y, I can quickly select all the shapes that have a certain color.
Right. That's cool. So you separate your elements, like even just having different shades will work. And then if you want to add an outline or make any changes, you've kind of basically separated things. It's almost like working in layers in Photoshop a little bit. You've got everything like easily selectable, so you can just work quicker once you get to making those changes, or if you see an error or something like that.
Yeah, 100%.
That is cool.
And even I'm doing layers, like obviously I'm working on one layer now, but usually I make multiple layers and then I, play around with that and stuff. So and obviously in mirror mode, I should have cleaned the stuff up in that, and like it would have made the shapes cleaner. But I think this way is just easier to see from this angle. A cool trick as well, you can see how I'm bringing stuff to the back. Control left square bracket to bring things behind, and if you have shift, it will bring it up all the way to the back or all the way to the front. That's another trick as well. So just for those who want to know the shortcuts. Cool, I think we're looking good. Only thing is these lines here, I think I gotta cut them off.
Seeing that shape builder tool just come in handy so many times.
Yep. So easy to do that. See? Really just makes everything so much better. Alrighty, so what I want to do now is I like the idea of like the scissors or like a shaver or something. So I'll go to Envato. I'll go to like graphics. Oh, I spelled that wrong. I'll just type barb and see what happens. So basically, I just want like a shape that I can use instead of like making it from scratch. I can just go Google and like copy an image and trace it myself. But sometimes you can just get like a simple icon and set to save you time. So I think this will do. You can see like some of this flat stuff that looks good. I'll just download that. How much time we got left?
We have, good point. I'm just sitting here mesmerized, kind of just watching away. Oh yeah, I'm running the stream. We have about 6 minutes left.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I could even like give the Pharaoh a mustache.
There we go.
Like I could do that if I want, make it more like humorous. Or maybe it's offensive. I don't know, but it's just it's just a design choice style.
It's like a variant for Movember for their social media channels, just to throw it in.
That's it, and then you can do like a marketing campaign specifically for that time or whatever. Okay, cool. So basically, what I've done, guys, is I just got the shape. So I'll try it without the just shape builder that and do maybe one like that. And I'm gonna put it on the top of the head like a symbol, because you can see how the Pharaoh has like, well, he's got a serpent or whatever, right? But this is where your design ideas come into play. Can you mix the two with the type of business or the brand? So I can sort of add it in there. And I'm just going to use simple shapes. So maybe I could like just do a circle, hold L and shift. And, or even like a square. And then like, I don't know, I gotta play around and see like what works. Maybe I want to make it into like a triangle. So I gotta play around with like the negative space and stuff.
It's just a side note for me. It's incredible how like rarely you go over to select something from the toolbar over the side, just because obviously you've got like all the shortcuts memorized. Sorry, in your head. I'm just kind of watching that a little bit, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's true, man. I gotta. I also have like F keys. I'm not using them right now, but I do have F keys as well that I use.
Right.
Just to speed. It's all about speed. Like if you can make things faster for yourself, like why not? So yeah, sometimes people like on my YouTube tutorials are like, oh, you're doing too fast, man. I don't know what you're doing. Might get rid of that. Then maybe we'll see what it looks like with that. That looks kind of cool. It's gonna take a while to refine this, but I think I'm pretty happy with how it's looking.
Yeah, I guess that's another question. Like, how far do you want to refine it before you send it to the client? Because is the client going to come back with feedbacks and you're like, I spent like an hour on getting those scissors right, and they want the straight razor instead of the scissors. Like, is there a point where you're like, okay, I probably need to send this for review first, or do you try to get it perfect, like pixel perfect at the beginning?
I try and get it as close to the final as possible. You don't want to show them a black and white image, or half done. Like that. I think that's not a good practice. It's always try and get as close to the final so you have minimal revisions. You don't want to be doing revisions. You want to try and have the solid concept, like all the shapes done, the brand colors. So then when you show it as a mock-up, it's going to work properly, you know?
Yeah. And hey, we're actually have only got about 2 minutes left. So I don't know if we want to kind of recap, and then maybe we'll pick up this on Thursday. I just don't want us to run out of time.
Yeah, sure. I think we can save it for Thursday and finish it off.
Yeah. I mean, this is looking great. Like, I love the shape builder tool. Like, a lot of people in chat mentioning how useful that's been, and some people are going to play around with it. Please do have a go. And then also, if you tune in on Thursday, if it doesn't work out for you, you can come back in and ask Jeremy questions, because he obviously uses it quite a lot. So yeah, this has been great. We've gone a really far way in a very short amount of time, and you answered all of our questions as well, which has been fantastic. But we will wrap up just to make sure that we have time to say goodbye and everything. Thank you, chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is looking great. We'll be back at the exact same time in 2 days for part 2 with Jeremy Mura. Jeremy, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It's been awesome.
No worries. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. And yeah, super excited. I'll see you on Thursday.
See you guys then. Bye.